Hey everyone, welcome to the Restorative Reading and Writing for Wellness podcast. I'm Stephanie, a book-loving, notebook-hoarding reader and writer on a mission to change lives one book and one notebook at a time. On this podcast, we explore the power of books and notebooks as tools for wellness. Reading and writing can help us feel better and make life better too, and I'll show you how I do it. You'll find episodes exploring the research behind reading and writing for wellness, practical strategies to embrace your own restorative reading and writing, and you'll meet authors and special guests who help us take inspired actions in our own daily practices too. So grab a notebook and your TBR list and let's dive into today's episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Restorative Reading and Writing for Wellness. I'm Stephanie Affinito, and I'm here with a guided reading and writing session for you today. At this point in our summer season of the podcast, we have started to explore our reading and writing habits, hearts, and communities. And today, I want to put all of those things together in a guided restorative reading and writing session, something that has quickly become the most popular, most downloaded episodes on the podcast. Now, when I started planning this, I originally thought I would create a guided session around the summer theme, around summer restoration. But I need to be honest with you. I create this podcast and I create these episodes around what I need most, around what I am actually doing and living and breathing in my own reading and writing seasons. So today, I want to share with you the kind of writing that has been bringing me a lot of comfort in the morning as part of my morning journaling, Julian Cameron's morning pages. And I want to bring it to you to help you the same way it's been helping me. So today's focus for our guided session is for when your life needs change. Maybe it needs change because we're moving into the summer season, and so you want to embrace those seasonal changes of your life. Maybe your life needs change because you want it to change in some area or another. Something doesn't feel good, something feels clunky or off, or you're just yearning for something different. Or maybe something is happening to you or around you or for you that you're trying to work through. Chances are every single one of you listening could relate to this idea of change, whether it's needing it, wanting it, or having to face it. I am not alone in this, I know. And so today's session is going to embrace that kind of change and give us a guided sequence for how we can do something about it that feels really good in our bodies too. As a reminder, these guided restorative reading and writing sessions involve a couple of pattern things. First, we will open with a grounding minute or two to settle our bodies and minds. Then we will focus on a short reading or passage to get our mind thinking on the topic. And then we work into 3 separate writing sessions, writing invitations that build and stack on each other to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And finally, we end with a closing, which often includes an affirmation or some sort of statement about an action step forward. Now, if you are listening and are multitasking or are unable to get to your notebook, that's okay. You can save this for later or simply listen to the guided session and think about your responses, reflect inwardly, or simply talk to the air as you are taking your morning walk. But if you are able to, I highly recommend that you grab a notebook, your favorite writing utensil, your favorite beverage, and a quiet spot to land. So if you are doing this with me with paper and pencil, let's go ahead and find a comfortable position and press pause until you are there and return. Wherever you are, allow your body to feel supported by the chair or the surface beneath you. And take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Notice for a moment where your body feels settled. Notice where it feels tight, uncertain, or restless. And without judgment, simply notice and breathe. Take another slow breath in and another slow breath out. You might imagine that you are standing at the edge of a path. You do not need to see the entire journey, the entire direction, and the landing place at the end of that path. You only need to see the next few steps. Rest in that possibility as you show up to the page today. Our short reading to launch our guided session is indeed short, and it is from a poetry collection that I adore and return to often. It's called Self-Love Poetry for Thinkers and Feelers by Melody Godfred. And as I read this very short 4-line poem, I want you to listen and just feel in your body what catches your attention. Feel in your mind what line resonates, and feel in your heart the emotion that might be arising. And I'll read it 3 times because it's so short to give it time to settle. If life feels impossible, remember, if you change, everything changes. If life feels impossible, remember, if you change, everything changes. If life feels impossible, remember, if you change, everything changes. Just take a minute to sit and breathe and reflect on that very short yet powerful poem by Melody Godfred. If you're called to, you're welcome to pick up your pencil and jot down the things in your head, or just take 30 seconds to sit and think and marinate in it. As we head to the writing portion of this guided session, I invite you to turn to a fresh page of your notebook as a signal to your mind and your body that you are embarking on something new that you are ready for. And I'd love for you to start with a list. What feels ready for a change in my life right now? What do I think needs to change right now? I want you to write without censoring yourself. Just list it all. What feels ready for a change in my life right now? And what needs to change in my life right now? You might think about what feels complete, outgrown, restless, or waving its hand to ask for your attention. No need to solve, no need to fix, no need to worry. Simply notice what feels ready for change in my life right now. And with that, I will launch our first 5-minute segment with meditation healing music from Nature Healing Society. Okay, that brings us to the end of our first segment of writing. And I invite you to look at that list that you created, whether it was short, medium, long, or very, very long. I want you to scan from the top to the bottom and ask yourself this very simple yet powerful question. Which of these things on this list can I actually control? Which of these things on the list can I actually control? Remember the poem, right? When we change, everything changes. So as you look at your list, mark in whatever way feels right to you, whether that's highlighting, circling, putting little smiley faces next to them. Mark the items on your list that you can actually control. And as you do, I'd love for you to see if there is a pattern to what you are finding. What often reveals itself in an exercise like this is that we have lots of surface items that we want to change. I want my house to be cleaner. I want to remember to put the laundry away sooner. I don't want to drop the ball at work. But when we look at those things that we can control, what happens for me, at least, is that it often points to a deeper need for change that resides in my body or in my mind. A need to change the amount of chaos swirling around, the need to change the amount of balls that I am juggling. So as you scan your list and you think about the things you can control and you mark them, see if you can find a pattern that resides deeper in your mind and body. And then ask yourself this: if this part of my life could speak, what would it say to me? So imagine the situations, the relationships, your habits, your tendencies, your dreams, the season you're in, whatever came up as you examine that list, imagine it speaking directly to you. What does it want you to understand? What is this need for change trying to tell you? And write freely in whatever way feels best. Another list, a stream of consciousness, drawing, doodling, however it needs to flow, let it flow. If this part of my life could speak, what would it say? And here's your music to get you started. ahead and guide your writing utensil to a good stopping point, and let's head into our third writing segment together. The segment that always invites us to think forward off of the page into our lives. So as you reflect on what just happened on the page for you, I'd like you to think of this. The smallest step I can take towards this change is ... I want you to think. Focus on gentle movement forward rather than big, dramatic transformation that often doesn't happen anyway. What feels possible right now? What feels kind? What feels true? And list whatever comes to mind. Maybe you focus specifically on the area or areas uncovered in our second writing segment, or maybe you just write freely about the change that you need and want right now. The smallest step I can take towards this change is ... And focus on what feels possible, what feels kind, and what feels true. Remember, you do not have to see the entire path of the journey. Allow your notebook to help you uncover one step at a time. So with that, let's head off to our third and final segment. The smallest step I can take towards this change is... and list what feels possible, what feels kind, and what feels true. with that brings us to the end of our third and final writing segment inside this restorative session. I invite you to take a moment to take a breath in and a breath out, to place a hand over your heart, or to simply rest your hands in your lap and do it again. Breathe in and breathe out. Even though we have focused on a topic that can be hard to uncover on the page, where and when and how our life and ourselves might need to change, I hope this cyclical structure of the guided session helps you leave this episode feeling better, feeling more hopeful, feeling more possible than when you started. If I've learned anything that I'd love to remind you of, it's that change doesn't require us to be certain. Growth doesn't require us to be perfect. And doing both of those things does not happen at once. It is a up and down, cyclical, sometimes crazy journey towards personal growth and change. So with what you found on the page, may you trust what unfolded there. May you honor what might be ending in your life, and may you welcome what is emerging. And hopefully you remember that every meaningful change that's possible can first begin on the safe space of the page. If you have a certain need for a particular guided session that you'd love to request, I would love to hear from you. You can find the show notes to this episode inside your podcast platform or on Substack, excuse me, and leave me a comment of the kind of session you might want next. Thanks for listening. Thanks for writing, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Restorative Reading and Writing for Wellness podcast. You'll find links to all of the books, resources, and ideas mentioned in the show notes and at alitlife.com. And if you want more, you might like to join my Get Literate Substack community. There, you'll find additional inspiration for your reading and writing life, like bonus podcast episodes, book calendars, monthly book clubs, notebooking inspiration, live events, giveaways, and much more. It's only $5 a month, and you get instant access to all of the previous content, too. You can learn more at getliterate.co. But there's one more thing. If you love what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast, or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a friend. This helps the podcast grow and builds our bookish and no bookish community too. Thanks for listening, everyone.